is tough to keep my leadership team consistent, motivated, and responsible. Perhaps the winning spirit and the ownership is not there. The same winning spirit and ownership of an entrepreneur, people that run the business, and perhaps it is a lack of direction from the partners. I'm unsure. Okay, so this is a very good question, the first of two parts. But I want to say something, Daryl. That's a good question, and for some of us as business owners, we naturally assume that there is some winning spirit and ownership because we own the business. And I want to say something, because I've met so many business owners as well in this walk of life as a coach. I want to say that that's not something we can assume. We can't assume that owning a business would make me have a winning spirit, because I have met business owners and entrepreneurs that don't have that. Even though they invested a lot of money into their company, into their business, there isn't exactly that. So we can't really assume that. Ownership and winning spirit comes with entrepreneurship. And at the same time, I've met employees, people who've worked for companies, and they're going and they're like chalking up and they're going all out. So I've seen employees that don't own any facet of the business, but because of that true alignment, they are very motivated and responsible for the results that they bring into a company that they work for. They don't necessarily own, but they work for it. So you see, when you talk about that winning spirit and ownership, I wanted to cast that difference, okay? Because it's easily assumed. And you see, when we talk about motivation as well, let me talk about this thing called motivation. It's important to know how people are motivated. What makes people motivated and demotivated? And you see, this is very important as a leader. When we lead people, it's also very important that we know when people are using their strengths and when they're struggling at doing something, because people are motivated most when they are using their strength, when they're doing something that they're naturally very, very good at. We become motivated. Nobody gets motivated from doing something that you're struggling every inch, and you struggle for 10 hours, you only achieve an hour of result, versus if you're good at it, all you gotta do is do it for 10 minutes, you got a whole hour of result. So a lot of the time as leaders, we also need to understand human motivation. And you see, human motivation from using strength and struggle, that's understanding your employees even better than sometimes he or she understands themselves. That is the true ability of a leader. And I also want to say one thing. When it comes to human motivation, people are motivated in generally, but a lot of people have combinations, I would say. Generally, people are motivated in two forms. And the two forms, very, very simply put, is pain and pleasure. People are generally motivated from these two. So there are two types. You're either motivated toward pleasure and opportunities and the things that I could do, the future options. And there are people, that's the pleasure part. And then there are human people, employees, that are also motivated to move away from pain. To reduce the problem, the challenges. So that's a way. So when we understand what are people's motivation, we also know how to use the right words. You know how to use. See, it's a simple phenomenon. Human motivation, pleasure and pain is like the carrot and the stick. And a lot of businesses have one or the other, but it's actually very, very important to be able to have both. A lot of businesses that we have come across as well are very, very good at using the carrot. Dangle the carrot. Okay, you get this opportunity, you get to grow, we can give you this amount of money, bonuses, tokens, incentives. Great. But what about the stick? Are there consequences? You see, and so those again, and when I go into a lot of businesses and I analyze deep and I evaluate all the systems and structures and the forms of management, a lot of time is heavy on the other. And then on the other hand, I've got some businesses that are very heavy on the stick. It's very heavy on the consequences. If you don't do this, we will minus your leave. You don't get to go on a holiday, you don't get to go for team building, you don't get to enjoy these extra goodies. And you see, that is and you've got to be able to have them both. But when I come into talking about motivation, thank you, Daryl, for this amazing question. because it is literally a lot of business owners and leaders questions as well. The question here is not just assuming the spirit and the ownership is not in employees. We can have it in employees. You can have it. It's not about owning the business, but in how to motivate people is to be able to speak their language, how people are programmed, and these different levels of programs is what we as leaders need to know. And that's why one of my programs, just to share a little bit with you, is called the coaching culture. And a lot of what we're encouraging in businesses is to build a coaching culture where leaders and managers actually know how to coach. And that's one of the things. See, a lot of people think that coaching is a third-party profession. They're outside of the business and then they are looking in and then they're coaching the business. Now, that coaching the business or coaching the person, now that's not true, because where it comes, one of the true potentials in organizations going the next level, where employees are engaged and they're moving in one common direction, are actually business owners, leaders, and managers actually knowing how to coach. And knowing how to coach has very little to do with technical experience, with knowing how those Excel spreadsheets work or how their softwares get coded. It's not about that. Coaching is about the human potential. Yeah, it's about knowing how to work with different types of people that will empower them to go work in alignment with where the organization is headed. Yeah.